Hello and welcome to Witch Hat Chats, presented by the Ever Moving We Rise Temple, the Laughing Soul Holistic Center, and Moonlight Potions and Charms. Known as the Witchy Ones, I'm your host, Nikki Kirby, and Pam Griffith is our co-host. So Pam, I know that next week we have Llamas.
Yes, with a full moon. So that ought to be interesting. Llamas or loaf mass is very old. It was actually even adopted by the Catholic Church. And they do have loaf masses. There are many of the older Catholic churches that still ask you to bring in your loaf, and the older ladies will bake them and bring them in, and the priest will bless them still to this day. So that's pretty interesting. We are having a Llamas ritual. Nikki, fill us in on the date and time.
Yes, we're actually having one next Sunday on August the 2nd at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be online. So you need to go to the Ever Moving We Rise Facebook page to find out more information about that. And I'm sure Miss Pam is going to entertain us during the ritual. It's going to be wonderful entertainment for Miss Pam.
Goddess has a very good sense of humor, thank goodness. We plan on the ritual. Please be there a couple minutes early if you can. We're all excited about it. And as always, at our rituals, it's wear whatever you think you need to wear. Robes are great. If you don't have them, t-shirt works just as good. I've been asked that question a million times. So we really don't care. All we need is you there.
Yep, that's the most important thing right there. And it's going to be led by Jason High Coral. So I'm looking forward to that.
And we have webinars coming up that are being offered through CEM Broadcasting. And Nikki, want to talk about the webinar, Eagle Medicine?
Oh, yes. I'm doing a webinar that I've done before. It's called Eagle Medicine, The Sky Isn't the Limit. It's on August the 6th at 7:30 p.m. and this is Eastern Standard Time. It will be through CEM Broadcasting. So go to cembroadcasting.com. And the description basically is with the coronavirus 19 epidemic. People are full of anxiety, panic, and fear of the future. So our ancestor and sister and brother Eagle, they're here to offer us guidance, encouragement, and a spiritual foundation to ease our minds through this period of rapid transformation. So come and learn about the Eagle's medicine and see how you can provide, see how it can provide knowledge to guide you through this period and through other things like that, because I've learned a lot about not only about myself through the eagle, but I've also learned a lot about the eagle and how I can apply to what it does to my own life. So it is extremely really interesting. So I encourage you, like I said, it's on August the 6th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and go to cembroadcasting.com for more information. So Pam, I think it's time for us to introduce Starr.
Okay, we are really fortunate this week. Trained in several traditions, this guest host has been organizing and serving the New York pagan community since 1995. In addition, she trained in the Minoan sisterhood for 2 years. She founded the New York City Wiccan Family Temple, WFT Academy of Pagan Studies, and Dragon Academy in 2007. Her temple was the first Wiccan temple in New York to produce trained and ordained priestesses and priests in New York City. She founded Witchfest USA, and this year, due to the virus, she had to move it online. And I hope everybody caught it. If not, go look for it because it was awesome. I'm here to present Starr Ann Ravenhawk of the New York City Wiccan Family Temple. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
You are the founder of Witchfest. How did that come to happen? Because that is a big thing. Everybody knows Witchfest.
Oh my goodness, thank you. I appreciate that. It actually, when we became a 501c3, they told us that we had to, the city told us that we have to have monies to fund to get a temple of our own space and all the different things. So part of the 501c3, we kind of said, okay, we will come up with things to fundraise with and things like that. And that became the one that we kind of started seeing that pushed off better and derived and got people coming in really quickly and everything like that. So we went with that. The name came about, this is, I know it's spelled funny, witch, and then there's an S in the middle and then fest, because the original name Witchfest was founded in Europe by the Children of Artemis, and they call it Witches Fest, and they're all over Europe, Wales and everywhere else. And I called them directly and I said, is it okay if I used the name here in the US? And they said that would be great. They honored, and they said that they were surprised that anybody would even give them that much respect and ask permission to use the name. So they said to me, I was the first one that ever did that. Everybody just kind of take things and go with it. And I said, well, I liked it and I like what you guys did. I have to give respect where it's due. So, but he said that if you type in Witchfest, it will come straight to their website. So he said, just add a little letter or something different. And that's what I did. I added the S in the middle. So it's Witches Fest. It's kind of a play on words of the spelling with it. So that's the reason that it's called Witch Fest USA. And there it is from that. And it kind of escalated from there, you know what I mean? Over the years. I think we began in 2012. Yeah.
It's awesome because everybody knows it. Everybody's excited about it. I didn't think many people knew how it got started. I know in my practice, I've been all over and everybody comments, oh, New York, yeah, Witchfest.
Oh, that's
Where
great.
that is.
I didn't know that. Yay.
No,
It's good to hear. I didn't know. A lot
yes.
of it I don't know, you know what I mean?
You don't
but it's
get to
great
hear it. Yeah, that's awesome. People actually do know it. Many traditions actually save up and make that like sort of a tribute
so awesome.
to go up there. So
yeah.
it's really fun.
Yeah.
We talked before we went on air that you studied under several traditions and you were defining your own tradition to us. Could you let our viewers know what your tradition is?
Okay, yeah, right. I don't have a set tradition. I'm of the belief that we don't mind having a temple where everyone can come together and celebrate the Esbats and the Sabbats in a public way. And so we kind of take little things from everywhere and put it together so that people can have a general public celebration and support one another. But going home, you're alone. And I think that tradition you create yourself. And I have traveled to so many countries around the world. So I kind of eclectically picked up things as I traveled and added it to what I believe and what I want within my system. So I don't have a tradition per se. I have a system that is created from many different things that's been grafted and put together. It's kind of like the Borg. Think of it like the Borg. I mean, it adapts and accumulates and formulates everything and puts it together and says, this is us, kind of a thing. So it's not, I don't like traditions. That's just me. Because a tradition just to me means that somebody started something. They brought in their beliefs or their way of manner of doing things. And then people follow behind with it. And that's great. That's great for some people. It's just not for me. So I kind of create my own little thing at home.
You know, I really like that attitude because to me, I've always done things kind of similar to like that. I mean, I do like certain traditions, but I tell people, I say, you do something that is relevant to you. Okay.
Yeah.
You change it to what is good for you. Like me, I'm sorry, I'm not a big robe person. Okay, I will wear a robe for like formal rituals and stuff like that. But as far as being home, I'm not going to get all dressed up in all my clerics and all my robes just so I can be able to do a simple 3-minute spell. Okay, I'm not going
Right,
to do
right, yeah.
that, right? So now this year with Witches Fest, because of the virus, you had to move that online. So
Yeah, yeah.
tell me, what was that like?
Oy, it was different. What we did was we basically had 2 months when we were told that nothing was going to be going on in New York City. No gatherings above 10 people are allowed, and all the different rules. And they across the board send out emails to us stating nothing is going on. It's all pushed to next year instead. Um, so we had to relay that to everyone. And they were all going, but does that mean we're canceling? And I said, give me a minute. Let me think about things. So with 2 months to go, I'm like, can we do this? Because it sounds easy, because the website is already up, but the website was not geared to online. So I had to recreate the entire website to online, to get, or everything had to be recreated. So it was a lot of work. It's a lot, and it's a lot of brain work and exhausting and all of that. Look at me, I'm still exhausted from it. I'm still tired all the time right now. Yeah, it was a lot of work. And bringing in, but it actually, I think, as much as it was a lot of work, it also opened us up to something else, because I kind of said to myself, well, if we're going to go online, a lot of people who we would not have been able to afford to bring in or fly in from where they are around the world, why not ask? All they can do is say no. And I approached all of them and I asked whether it's a performer or a presenter from around the world. We said, rather than just stick within the US, why not go international, globally, and see who would like to come in from around the world? And people answered. And some so much that we had to say, you know what? We can't take on any more people because it's already at its capacity, but we will add you to next year. We had to do that because we had so many people answering saying yes, but they all were coming at the same time. And it was like whoever came in first and that's who got in, kind of a thing. So it ended up being this amazing group of performers and presenters and hosts and everyone saying, yes, they think this is great. Let's bring the pagan community globally together, um, and do this kind of a thing. So I was really, yes, there are some that did not, but that's okay. Such is life. We had so many overwhelmingly saying yes that it really was irrelevant who said no. It was just like, no problem. Thank you. Bye. And we moved on from there.
So, because I know been several pagan festivals that have had that option, but they say, well, they don't want to move it online. It's kind of like they miss the tradition of us being in the same room
Right.
and doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I actually thought it was awesome that you were able to bring it online because when we first went into confinement, when the virus first hit and people were canceling their rituals left and right. I'm like, let's try to do it online. Let's try to go through Zoom. Let's try to do something because you still need that person to person contact.
Right, right. And
So,
it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be, I mean, yes, we would all love to meet in person, but to be honest, there were a lot of people who were there already that were coming in as in live people from the beginning. And they were, the minute I said, we're going to continue, but we're going online, it's like they didn't hear the word online. And they were like, Starr, we're kind of concerned. We don't want to come in person. We prefer to do it online. I said, honey, I already said it's online. None of us are meeting online. So none of us are meeting in person. So people were already so concerned, literally from around the world, whoever they were, or here in the US, they did not, and honestly, everything in New York gathering wise is canceled all the way through the end of the year. And I don't blame them because they are concerned, despite people out in the restaurants and everything, they are concerned about COVID. and the spreading of it. And I prefer to have us meet like this, have conversations and do rituals and have the experience uh, of at least being able to come together as a community than nothing at all. And it ended up being so many people telling me, whether it's via email or messenger or whatever, that they never would have been able to come to something like this. And they were so grateful that it occurred online for them to be able to attend. And it was an experience that they will never forget. And they hope that we continue the tradition of having it. So whether we have it in person or not going forward, which we are going to hopefully do so, we are going to also add the online as well.
Awesome, awesome. So, what was it like being younger and coming up? What was your pill? No, I can't say that word because that word, it's not a bad word. It's just a word that's kind of hard for me to say right now. So, I'm not going to say it. What was it like for you as your journey of being a witch? Coming up, was that something that you always knew you were? Was it a discovery process that you had to go through? Were you raised in it? What was it?
I was not raised in it. My mom is diehard Christian, diehard. And so I am the epitome of what she does not want to have her daughter doing. Um, she does not. But even when I had a store in 2005, I had a store in Manhattan, and it was one of those big stores that had big brick stores that had two archway doorways. And one side my friend rented, and I said she had her side as what you call it, a vintage shop, and mine was the witchcraft shop on the other side. My mom visited, and my mom came in the store and walked sideways like this on her side and stayed with her back to me the entire time, sat over there, will not visit me on my side of the store.
Mm.
And she walked in, and it was just, I was like, Moms, are you serious? No, I am not it for that. But yes, but as I told her, have I changed in any way? And she said, no. I said, well then, but again, that's another thing. But anyways, in terms of discovery, I think it kind of went, I don't know, I think I've always just been thinking outside the box with certain things, and I questioned certain things. And when I didn't like the answers, I moved on from there, and I kind of started creating or looking for people that were similar minded as myself. And that I found in New York and some places, and that was really great at Enchantments on 9th Street at the time. That was at First Avenue and 9th Street, where I met Laurie Cabot and Rhea and all of them. And we had a lot of training, different types of training done there. That's why I had my Cabot training as well.
Oh, great. So, now you had stated that you founded the New York City Wiccan Family Temple in 20,
Yes.
20, excuse me, 2007.
Yeah, 2007. Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's ain't right.
No, that's okay.
So how did that come about? I mean, what actually led you? What was your
okay. That was a matter of the word family. I had my husband had passed away, and my son was a year and a half old, and that means that anywhere I want to go for ritual, it's all adults, no kids. And they may not say it verbally to you, although some did, and they were not very nice about it. They were not welcoming to children. They just were not. And then some of them actually said, even when he was quietly playing with his toy truck in the corner and, not making any noise or anything, him and his other friend, my friend Kathleen and her son, they were both just playing by themselves and not even making any noises or anything. And people would call us breeders, and other names like breeders, and constantly make little hints of the breeders. And then finally I just said, that's enough, I'm done. I am so done going to other people's rituals with the names or the different things that they will call us. So I just said to her, you know what? It was Kathleen and I and our two boys. And I said, you know what? Let's start something that's for family oriented. That means it's for not just family oriented. We could still be ourselves as adults. But our kids should be welcomed. I mean, if the Christians and every other religion can raise their kids in their path, why are we all so reluctant to accept our kids? So I said, it starts with us, just the two of us and our two boys. And that's what we did. And it went on from there. That was the beginning. That was in 2003. And we just kind of went on from there, and that's it. It just kind of grew into, every year kept getting bigger and bigger and into what it is today.
That's really awesome, because it is true. A lot of times your children are asked not to attend.
Yeah. Where am I going to pay? I'm going to literally pay for a babysitter every time I need to go to ritual. This is ridiculous, and my boys grew up with, with their own altar, wanting their own things and everything, because that's what they saw mommy doing.
Yeah, it's sad. If we don't teach our children, someone definitely will. And I'm kind of against anybody teaching my children faith.
Yeah.
You've got youth programs, which is, again, something that's a little different, because most traditions are very much adult oriented. I saw that. What are your youth programs? I mean, do you do
we still have it. It's just that our kids are now all grown and they're going to college and stuff now. And this is from when they began, We have the Dragon Academy. A lot of them, either the ones that were still coming, have moved out of state. New York has become so expensive that the kids that were born and raised here, they're having to move to other states or go back to their family members to live. And so we lost a lot of our kids. And then the rest are all grown up now, and they moved on or moved out or different things. But yes, the Dragon Academy taught kids from 5 years old and up. The parents were requested to be there because we were not babysitting. We were actually teaching, and we wanted the parents to know what they were being taught. And the parents were there to help them with their homework. It was done in an arts and crafts way, where they can be taught everything. So these kids, my boys, they could literally set up and take down ritual for you for any Sabbat, any Esbat, or anything like that, just like that. And little kids that they were. They knew all of their things. They knew how to make their herbs and their oil mixtures and all the different things by the time they were finished.
That is truly awesome. And like I said, if we don't teach our children, somebody else will.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Right. And my children, I have 3. 2 are pagan, 1 is not, but they came to ritual because I couldn't afford a babysitter.
Right, exactly. And not only that, the same way that Christians and Catholics teach their kids from very young, and then they can make their minds up after that. Well, they're not allowed to make their minds up. Their minds are set for them. But with our kids, I said, I wanted you to know mine. So when you go on from there, if whatever you decide you're going to be, I don't care, but you know where mine is set, all the ways of mine of where it's going. And they were raised with that, and I'm glad they were, because just to give you an example, one of the times my son was at a Boy Scout, and it's interesting because Boy Scout to me is very kind of slightly pagan. Some of the things they do are slightly pagan, but that's okay. But some of the boys there would say, they would talk about their religion and their God and their Jesus and everything. And our 2 boys that grew up together were there, and they now were presenting their part of their religion. And then they mentioned, and we have many gods and goddesses and and they went on, and they were so eloquent. They presented and they represented, and I was so proud of them. And then when the young man turned and said to him, you're not allowed to do that. And he said, what do you mean? And they said, you're not allowed to have more than one God. And they said, maybe in not your religion, but in our religion, we can have as many as we want. And we do. So I thought that was, so cool that they could represent and state their things, and they state their cases very well. And I was just like, all right.
Boy Scouts is, I am a former Wood Badge Boy Scout leader for 19 years. So
there you go. You know what I'm talking about.
It was easy for me because we did the woodland thing. We did the woods. We did all the good stuff. Yes.
And they call the quarters. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're calling the quarters? Wow, you're calling the quarters.
I love having children at my ritual. Our tradition is familial also. I had a little 3-year-old who could call water. He called dolphins with more energy than any adult on the planet.
There you go.
He would look to him and say, and he would just scream it at the top of his lungs, dolphins. And that little boy envisioned dolphins just going across the circle. It was awesome.
Yeah.
You have listed that you are a candle therapist. Can you go into that a little bit for us?
Oh, okay. I do a lot of mental health counseling with people in general, whether they're pagans or not. And some of the non-pagans are very interested in the candle therapy. So it's a case of going through, we do it all the time with our spell work. Candle therapy is when you are literally doing the mental health counseling with them, and then different parts they want to add on the spell work that would help them countermand certain parts of whatever that they're going through in that, or whatever they're dealing with, their addictions or their different things. And it's worked with people. It's not 100%, but then nothing is. So, but that works extremely well for a lot of my patients. Some of them have been even autistic patients, autistic and what's the other one? I forgot the name. Anyways, but it has worked for him really, really well, and they have seen improvements. And to me, that is something for someone to say that that they've gone through many therapists over the years, and none has gotten the results that they're seeing right now with their family member in all of these years. And they basically were telling me, I'll give you anything, whatever you're doing is working. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. This is what I normally charge, and that's what I'm sticking with, kind of a thing, but it works. And if it works, then that's what I would try anything that I could see that could possibly work to help that person attain their goals.
That I do like that sound, candle therapist. I do like that. But let me ask you this question. We're in the middle of this virus right now, and people are not liking to having to stay away from one another. And I know that can cause a lot of stress and anxiety, because some people, they need to go out and they need to make money, so they're for their families and rent and so forth. What is your advice to help them, or to generalize, to help them with their anxiety, with their stress right now?
Um, it depending on what it is, what type of stress that they're dealing with. If it's in general, majority of times a black candle works really well, because I always say I'd give them things that they have to say and chant or different things, and then I add little parts that they have to ad lib themselves as to what there's to different stress, because even when they tell you things, they don't quite tell you things, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So I would say, and here I want you to ad lib the parts that you know in your heart that you really want to work on, because human beings don't have that tendency to tell you the exact truth, only what they want you to presume is the truth.
Right.
So I kind of work it in between, where I put certain things that I want you to say. That's the general scope of what you should cover. But in between, I'll add this from your mouth, what you really want to say here for this part and different parts. And depending on if it's anxieties or anxieties, I would go with the white candle. If it's to remove, if you want to deal with it on a certain level, okay, like for instance, depending on the anxiety you have, people have anxieties going outside now, just going outside, because they've been in lockdown for so long. That one I would use either a blue or a yellow candle. So it depends on what the anxiety that's being caused. That's why I kind of consult with them first and see what candle. Everything is based on what I'm hearing to figure out what color candle I'll advise them to use and work with for their spell. And and I would even send them the words right up, and then what they will add to it for themselves. So everything is not a general thing, I would say, that someone could do. I have to kind of gauge what it is you're trying to tell me.
Right. And it seems like, okay, you have your temple, they actually have a building, is that correct?
No, we do not. We want to get that. That's why we are doing, that's why we do the fundraisers and the different things, because when you're fundraising, we are registered with GuideStar and a few others in the country that will help. If you get to a certain amount of funding, they will provide a certain amount, but you have to get to you have to get to that, and that's the hardest part. And so that's what we are doing right now.
So are you fundraising to buy the entire building or fundraising
It would
just to
be
get a
nice.
mortgage?
It would be nice to get our own church building.
Mhm.
But like you've seen some churches or temples, they're inside of apartment buildings and they have like the ground floor. Whatever it is that we can get, we would gladly take. Um, but what we are hoping to seek and get also at the same time is to have it both indoors and an outdoor space in the backyard or something, if it's possible.
Right. Right.
Because there are no pagan church of any type in anywhere in New York State that I know of presently. And we would like to try to attain that, even if we have to do it collectively among different groups of traditions. I don't care, as long as we have our own thing, because once we, even if we get it, I'm not even necessarily going to say it's the New York City Wiccan Family Temple. I'm going to say part of it is, and the heading would be, I don't know, pagan traditions. I don't know, whatever the name would be, and everyone would would know that this is the place that they can go to really practice without being condemned in any way. And what I mean by that is because everywhere that there is for us to rent space from for the hour or the 2 hours, first of all, it's expensive. And then it comes with a lot of rules. No candles to be lit, no incense to be burnt, no oils to be used, no liquids of any kind. So you're sitting there going, we're meeting in person, but technically we're not really doing much in anything in person because we're not allowed to do that.
Right.
So even online, to me, that comes off better because here we are online and we can actually light our candles, burn our incense, all the different things that we are not allowed to do in person. So in some ways, this is an experience that that has become in some ways better than meeting in person, if you know what I mean. At least I think so, because we're given so much more leeway. We're at home, so we can do as we choose.
And we're also more comfortable in our own environment as well.
Right, right. You know, and we still, it may not be us in hugging distance, but I mean, it proves with Witches Fest being online this year, we still got the experience of seeing these amazing performers and presenters from wherever in parts of the world. And there they are coming in to experience this with you in a way that it's as if you're physically there. It still became an experience. And I think that is something that we should be grateful for, that we even have these modes of doing that, because without it, then we really are strapped with nowhere to go.
Right.
Find it fascinating that there's no building. I understand. I've been in several states, and whenever you go to a meeting, you do have that list of rules that you
Yep.
gotta follow. You
Yep.
can't.
Yeah.
We found actually in Florida, we found the Universal Unitarian churches will let you, because they usually have a cups division.
Yeah.
And they'll let you have your meetings there, but it is tough. And it's tough to even get a space. New York is like, I wouldn't even try
Yeah.
in New York.
New York is hard. But even when we found spaces, one of them was what was the name of that place? Anyways, they are run by the Archdiocese of New York. And we were there for 3 years doing our rituals and our classes. And then one day, out of the blue, they told us we were not allowed to ever come back and enter their building again. And we were like, why? I'm literally on our way there with our group. And I said, why? What's going on? They're like, well, the Archdiocese has decided that no witches are allowed to be in their building. I said, but we gave you guys our 501c3 from the very beginning. We didn't hide anything. From the very beginning, we gave you guys all the documentation, the 501c3, everything, all of our name is everywhere. We have not changed. What's now changed after 3 years? Well, I guess, and they pleaded with the Archdiocese, telling him, that they have been here and they've been amazing and all these different things. And he said, no, I think he just realized that we were witches. I have no idea after 3 years. So we were told that no witches were allowed to ever enter their building doorway again. We were like, okay then. So we had to find another place. Every time it's been something, or they make up things about us. Um, that we would leave the place in horrible conditions. And I'm like, no, every time we left, we made it cleaner than when we found it. We'll even bring it to their attention. Look, there are bottles or different things here. We are cleaning it out. So you cannot accuse us when we leave, because you will say, well, you were the last persons. These bottles belong to you. I'm like, no, we're walking in and seeing it that way. So yeah, we not doing that. Yeah. So I would prefer to not have to go through that anymore, because it's kind of embarrassing when you're on your way there with your group to tell you that you're no longer allowed to enter their building. So I would like to see us have our own space where we can all, of different traditions, be able to know that we are welcome there and no one's going to tell us this kind of nonsense ever again. You can't tell me to get out of my own building. Not when I own it, or I have the rights to it. So I prefer that kind of feeling. It's the reason why I don't rent in my apartment. I own. I like to own everything I have, so that no one can tell me this is not yours or you're renting it from us. I'm like, no, I'm not renting it. I'm whatever it is. So I would much prefer to have us own the building if we can get it.
I remember going, and when I lived in California, there was a building that I would go and meet the Sonoma Pagan Network there once a month. And there were certain rules that they had. Like, for example, was the lighting of the candles. We were not allowed to light a candle. Now, we could have one of those LED candles.
Yes.
But we couldn't light our own candles, and we had to make sure everything was clean and respected and everything like that. So yeah, I understand about trying to rent a place and then you're getting kicked out because of anything. I mean, we even had in this county, this was like many years ago, we had a store called the Purple Unicorn, and it was called a metaphysical store. Okay, it wasn't called a wood shop. It was called a metaphysical store. And they had mostly stuff for people who meditated and stuff like that. But they received so much harassment that they actually closed their store 2 months later.
See, and I'm not surprised, because despite what people think, when we do like in the warmer weather, we practice in the park, Tompkins Square Park. And a lot of people think it's for free, and nothing is free in New York City. You have to rent the space there too, in the park. And we were there one of the times. People harassed us different times. They would take pictures of us, videotape us, call us names, from far off. But we choose an area that is surrounded by a small gated area, and away from people a bit, but yet in the front center. And that kind of keeps people at least a distance from us. And we are there, and we were always every month there. I kind of miss it. But at the same time, I remember one time, there's a group called, I forgot, something ministry. And whenever they saw us, they would get really loud. This time she got so loud and irate with us, kept calling us evil witches and all the different things. And she sent some of her congregation members over to harass us. And then she went to the parks department that were there and complained about us being there. And the guy who was there at the time came in, and he came at us, like coming, and I had to stop him. I had to stop the ritual, cut out myself out of the circle, go to him and stop him. I said, what are you doing? Well, they said that you guys are practicing witchcraft. I said, and yes, we are. It is our right. And then he said, but you're not allowed. I said, yes, we are. First of all, we have the permit. Second of all, well, then he says, you need to show them. I said, no, I do not. They do not adhere to their rules. I adhere to the Parks Department rules. And we are a legal religion in this country. May I have your name, please? I took his name down. I said, you do not have the right to tell us anything differently. I will be speaking to your head person here, and I will be emailing your head offices. I said, we have the legal right to be witches in this country. It is our religious right to practice without harassment. They should not be harassing us and be allowed to have a microphone, which we are not allowed to do without a permit. They do not have that permit. They're not allowed to do the gathering that they do without payment. They're doing that, which is illegal. We are not. They are being illegal right now. And by then he was all calmed down. He said, well, from now on, you produce that. I said, I don't have to produce one damn thing to you right now. Nothing. I said, first of all, the permit is for above 20 people. We have the permit. I don't have to show it to you. Not only that, I said, we are under 20 people at the moment. Again, I don't have to show you one thing. We don't have to tell you anything other than we are gathering to practice our witchcraft, and you don't have the right to say one word beyond that. He stopped and he went away. I emailed everybody, all the head offices. I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know if they reprimanded him, but I made sure to speak to the Parks Department head at that park. And they said, oh my gosh, he was not supposed to do that. That's against your religious rights. I said, I know. So I sent them all the information and everything. And nobody ever, as a matter of fact, that ministry was they no longer harass us. And they're there too. Now they just speak nothing from them. But if we don't speak to them and let them know we have the right and we don't have to adhere to them, they have to adhere to the parks rules, not us to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And this is what I mean. If we had our own space, our own building with our own yard, we would not have to go through that nonsense. Not publicly anyways like that.
Right.
And they thought they had the right to do it. They had their congregation members stoning us with garbage and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. People don't understand the law, and what's right for you is also right for me.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You can congregate, I can congregate. I was raised Roman Catholic, a Catholic school, the whole 9 yards. So it's like we have the same rights as the Catholic Church. So it's always, okay, can the Catholic Church do this? Yeah, well, we can do it too. So let's go. And you got to develop a mentality like that. It's really a shame. Nikki, right now we are going into our Song of the Week break. As everybody is aware, and we've been speaking about it every time, Corona-19 is really bad. Pagan musicians and groups really depend on those live performances and getting out and meeting people. Record sales, you can't get out of your house to shop. You can't buy those CDs, although you can buy them online. So we keep telling you, go online and get them. So each week, Nikki and I select a song from a pagan musician or a band and display their musical video and or song. We can get the video, it's great. And we're proud to introduce this week Freedom by Spiral Rhythm off their I Am CD. And Nikki?
Can no more be bound than the hawk in flight, and I am the fires that burn in the night, and I am the shaking and the quaking of the earth, and I am the waters of the world's rebirth. I am freedom. 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 I am no more contained than the waves on the sea. I cannot be chained because I must be free. And I am the fire that burns in all things, the bell that tolls with freedom's call. When you hear me ring, I am freedom. I am freedom. I am freedom. I am freedom. I can no more be bound than the hawk in flight, and I am the fires that burn in the night, and I am the shaking and the quaking of the earth, and I am the waters of the world's rebirth. I am freedom. 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 I am no more contained than the waves on the sea. I cannot be chained because I must be free. And I am the fire that burns in all things, the bell that tolls with freedom's call. Shake when you hear me ring. I am freedom. 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 I can no more be bound than the hawk in flight. And I am the fires that burn in the night. And I am the shaking and the quaking of the earth. And I am the waters of the world's rebirth. I am freedom. 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 I am no more contained than the waves on the sea. I cannot be chained because I must be free. And I am the fire that burns in all things, the bell that tolls with freedom's call. Shake when you hear me ring. I am freedom. 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 I
And we are back. Welcome to Witch Hat Chats, presented by the Ever Moving We Rise Temple, the Laughing Soul Holistic Center, and Moonlight Potions and Charms. And we are here with Miss Starr Ravenhawk. And, you know, Starr, you said that you had a business. Do you still have a business? Is it online? We can't hear you, Starr. Starr, we can't hear you. Unmute yourself, honey.
Okay, sorry, I forgot. Yes, yes, I said it's charmedbystarr.com. Like charmed as in charming, by star.com. And yes, we sell just about every and anything. And you're also welcome to visit us at wiccanfamilytemple.org as well. And the Academy, I forgot, WFT Academy of Pagan Studies.org. And it's called Wiccan Family Temple because the family part, and Wiccan, since the word, well, really, it's kind of off a bit because Wiccan just means more than one male witch, but we're gonna just say it means more than one witch. That's all it means. Because people think it's, you know, Wiccan, and I'm like, no, that's not, Wiccan just means more than one witch. But because it's an A, like Wiccan, it just means more than one male witch. And Wiccan is with the EN is one more than one female witch. But we're gonna just say it means all of us.
Let's just cover everybody, right?
Yes, so we just say Wiccan Family Temple. More than one witch gathering, that's all it is.
So the name that you have for your business, what was it again? I'm sorry.
Charmed, as in charming, but ED, charmed by Starr with 2 R's.com.
Okay, and how did you come up with that name?
Oh, I love the show Charmed. And I was just like, that's so charming and nice and all the different things. And I said, and it just came to me and I was just like, you know what, just call it Charmed by Starr, or, you know, whatever. And then I made it just kind of work and it kind of stuck.
That is so cute.
Yeah. And when I had the store, that's what the store was called, Charmed by Starr. And then in 2005, when we had to close the store because of rent being jacked up twice to what it was, I said, we're out. We're no longer in person. And I went online, and that's, you know, in 2005 from that.
And so has it been better since you've been online, or?
It's not as, you're not in people's faces, so you're not getting the kind of camaraderie and feedback as much as you would if you were in person. So online takes harder. It's harder to get people to come to you, kind of a thing. Um, because that whole thing about if they build it, they will come does not work for websites. You have to market and all the different things. So it's the reason why we are going to be launching something as of August, the end of August is something that we're going to be launching where it's an idea that we have in the works that we don't quite want to say, but we want to say. It's kind of like making, okay, Amazon. Everyone knows Amazon, right? Or even Etsy. But you know how Etsy has a lot of things against witches selling on Etsy? Okay. We are going to be creating a site similar to Amazon that's going to be for witches only or for pagans only.
Awesome.
So we're in the process of doing that, where it's going to be, and it's going to have events and free workshops and psychic fairs and all the different things. But it's going to be, all the stores are going to be there that are all pagan oriented, and all of us working to build it, and they shall come. We market it all together, because us marketing our stores, our website individually does not work quite as well. And that's why all these little stores work so well on Amazon, because Amazon created the heading and then they all came in under Amazon. So we're like, well, why don't we do that for us? So we're going to do that.
Yes, because Amazon is actually a distribution
Yeah,
system, is what it is.
yeah, that's
So,
all they are.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a store on Amazon myself. And that's all they are. It's the means of kind of like what Etsy is trying to basically become, but they'll never be Amazon. Amazon is its own entity, and Amazon does not discriminate with certain things. So we just said, why don't we create our own? And that's what we're thinking of. That's what we're trying to launch by the end of August.
Awesome.
That is awesome, because you're right, Etsy does have some issues.
Yeah.
I know somebody that and she's just pagan. She's not really, she was just selling some stuff, and it was like, nope. So I do understand that, but that's something that a lot of the smaller pagan online stores would really jump at.
Yeah, but we as well, we're not discriminating in any capacity, but we are asking that people we are going to interview people, because we want to make it where you have to have good references, or you have to be in a business at least 3 years. So we know that you know how to run your business. We're not here to run your business for you. We're not here to teach you how to run business or anything like that. We should all be having our own individual businesses. And this is a heading like Amazon, the distributor, that will bring in everybody. And we all market that we're there, kind of a thing. So we want to be and that will be, Amazon is based on, that's the one thing Amazon does is based on their reputation, right? They don't like anybody. So it's the same thing we would want. We would want to make sure that you would adhere to certain rules as to the type of business that you are, not the type of business, wrong wording, the type of person that you are behind that business.
Right.
Because it makes a difference. It's kind of like, there were many pagan, there's one in particular pagan person that had several pagan shops in New York that each year or every 6 months will be gone. Like, everybody knew not to touch her, like a leper kind of a thing, because she was so bad at pagan businesses, everybody thought of her as a cheat. So we don't want to bring that element to where we are. We want to make sure that you are. So we will be looking at your background.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That just makes it a much better store. Then you have confidence.
Yes, exactly. That when people come there, they will know that these people have business reputation to uphold.
Right.
That's the whole idea, because we can't become something that then everybody said, well, this particular website is, and that's why Amazon has their particular rules of the types of businesses that they have running there.
Yes. And you can go to Amazon and complain, and they take it seriously.
Exactly. And so we have to do the same if we're going to survive.
Yes, I can really see that blossoming very quickly.
Thank you. We hope so, because we want to be able to make it where, instead of us advertising our individual websites out there on our own, it's a collection of people coming like going to that pagan Amazon kind of a thing and going, okay, you know, they're all there, all the nice goodies or whatever it is, and they have psychic workshops, psychic fairs, and free workshops and all the different things. Yeah.
That I'm excited about that myself. It's really hard on some of the places to order. The smaller stores can't keep the stock. It's hard to sometimes. You're not confident when you order from some companies. Are they really going to come through? I've been burned a few times.
Yeah.
Ordering.
Oh boy, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, fortunately it wasn't big orders, but it's still the idea. But once, you know, Amazon, you don't give a second
No,
choice.
and that's why everybody has so much confidence is shopping on that website. And, you know, because they know that no matter what, even if that individual business is not a good business person, Amazon will step in and handle it, kind of a thing. And that's the idea.
That is awesome.
Confidence. Yeah.
Now, do you have a favorite Wiccan or witch author?
No.
No? You're like me, you just
I'm
read
gonna
them
say
all?
no. Well, I'm not going to say I read them all. I'm not reading new ones as much anymore. I'm sorry, I can't. I've been around for too long. I'm 60 years old now, and I'm just like, I don't mean to say it this way, but a lot of, I have favorite authors, but I can't say just one because there are so many that I really like and admire because they come up with unique things that they write about. But the problem is today, there are so many authors, and to me, all they kind of doing is regurgitating what has been there all along. And if you and I, we are of that age where we know what I mean. We know all these things already. They may come up with a different name or a different angle they're coming at it, but it's exactly the same pretty much of what's been written over and over and over, regurgitated from their point of view. And I'm just like, you read a bit of it and you're like, oh, I know that, and you put it down. So now you've wasted your money on that book. That's the way I feel. Unless someone has something uniquely different to write about, I really have nothing to read. I can't even read it and say, this is a review. I can't. I'm just reading the same thing I've been reading all along for years.
Yeah, you kind of stick with the old authors.
Yes, I stick with the older authors because for them to write anything new, they're writing not from just their angle, but they're writing about things that is actually new, not things that are regurgitated because they've been there, done that already. And I don't mean to say that, you know, they don't have something, a lot of the new authors have something to say, but I'm sorry. I have not read anything that's new so far that's not been regurgitated. I just can't waste money like that anymore.
I think we were lucky at our age. I'm over 60 that we got to study with some of the originals.
Yeah, you know, right. Yeah, exactly. And so all the new authors, and they, to me, that's what I'm kind of concerned about. They're young and they're spitting out these books, one left, right, and center. And you're like, but I've read that already so many times in different books. But this is from your point of view, but you're a new author. So now you have a reputation kind of a thing. They're building everything on the fact that they're an author now. They've written a book. And I think that's wonderful. But if you're going to write something, try to be original about what you're writing so that it's not regurgitated things from the past. And just about every book I have that, like you said, we've been around a while. So every one of my old books, when they go to write about it, I'm like, first of all, I know the author where you took these from. I know them and I know where it's from. And the fact that I can actually read certain books and know where certain things came from, I can't. I just can't. And that's the problem that they have. They're facing people who are still alive that can tell where their writings are from. And I just can't. I can't. And I'm lucky that people send me their books. I don't have to necessarily buy them. They will send me their books and I will read them, or if I have the time. And it's a loaded question you asked.
That's what you get when you're on this show, honey.
Because then I get, if I say it, then, and anybody hears this, they're like, well, she is whatever, whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm writing a book too. And again, it's taking me time because I don't want to write the same things that's out there that everyone else has written on. I don't. And that means I'm writing about things that I've experienced just like everybody else. But in my point of view, things that, again, I came up on my own with, not that's been in a book and being regurgitated. I just can't even do it to myself.
Well, you know what? We were talking about the COVID virus and how it's hit every single one of us.
Mm-hmm.
How has it hit you personally?
For me personally, I have friends who I've watched around me who have been sick for a couple of months now, and they have not got it. It doesn't entirely leave their body. Or I have one student that works in the hospital, and 15 of her coworkers are dead. I mean, literally, people that she works with every day, 15 of them gone, just like that, from this virus. And she took herself home and said she's going to try to ride it out there. And she really thought she was going to die. And I had to be talking on Zoom with her or on Facebook constantly, video, trying to talk her through this. And it is hard watching people that you know and love and care about go through this. And then you listen to people on Facebook. This is one of the reasons I'm kind of off Facebook for a bit. Facebook is becoming so toxic with all of this, because to see people not believing it because they're not seeing something, a personal person in their lives or something, which does not make sense in my head. It doesn't have to be personal to you. You're seeing so many that it's personal too. But whatever their beliefs with it, I'm watching way too many people. And one of my friends, Kathleen, the one I was talking about with her son, she's been sick for 3 months now. Every time she thinks that she's gotten over it, it comes back, and she's in her 60s. And it's, she's scared, and then children are now getting other things happening to them, and they've seen that, and she's like, now the kids might die, and and all of it. And it's just the fact that people think it's nothing or they don't believe in it is just sad to see.
That is, I mean, they're more willing to believe in a deity than in a virus that can actually kill you. And I never understood why they think kids couldn't get this virus. I just never understood that. I'm sorry, but have you actually been to a school where a kindergartner, they just went up their nose and then they start touching you and start touching other people, and then it's this is what kids naturally do, right?
And honestly speaking, for someone to look at me and shout out, you need to get your kid to school, I'm like, you and what horse is going to take me? Because we are not going, not with my kid. You can send your kid, but we are not sending our kid. So it's affecting everybody. It has nothing to do with age or whatever. It just affects an age group or certain types of people more, but it will affect anybody. And that's what I find amazing about human beings, that yes, we all have different beliefs and different thoughts, but it does not mean that you cannot see for yourself things that are happening, or that you're going to believe one particular person telling you what it is and nothing else. None of that. When did we become so, I don't even know what the word is anymore. I have no idea what to think or decide, or whatever it is. It's just so toxic, all of it.
So how has this affected your school? Because I know now you had to take your school online.
Everything is online. Yeah, and some of them are going, well, when are we getting back? I'm like, not anytime soon. Right. We are online for a while to come. We are not meeting in person, so don't even think about it.
I mean, I have a mom who I'm looking after, and she's in her 70s. And I don't want to get it, one thing, and I know I don't want to give it to my mother. So
Yeah.
I stay home. When I have to go out, I put that mask on. Yes, it fogs up because I have to wear glasses. It fogs up my glasses. Yes, it does fog up my glasses. But I try to put, one of those anti fog up sprays on it. And sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. But the thing about it is I'm concerned not only with myself but also with others. And do you see people coming together more or
I
um
see people, the restaurants outside when I drive, because now I'm so glad I have a car and I don't have to get on the buses. Um, I drive to go to anywhere I'm going, and I'm watching people. They're all in New York. They're not indoors. Not one restaurant indoors is open. They're all outdoors. They're out on the street. They're occupying the street, and they created like a squared off area for each restaurant on the street itself. And they're saying that they're socially distancing, but the chairs look pretty darn close to each other to me. I am sorry, but I don't see. I can go and buy, if I'm going to go get a margarita outside in a restaurant, I don't need it that badly that I need to go to a restaurant to do it, even if they're socially distancing. I could go buy tequila and my margarita mix and everything, and I could make my darn margarita here and sit on my bed and be just fine. I could call you up and go, girl, let's cheers to margarita or whatever, right on Zoom.
and
I
play
don't need to
in the
do,
background, right?
yes, yeah, and I don't need to be in that restaurant on the outside. And first of all, I'm allergic to the sun. I got burnt very easily all up my skin here on my arm. So I am not going out in that sun to go and sit there, get burnt out, and get just to say I'm outside and life is normal. It's not normal. Okay, people, get over yourselves. It's not normal. It's not going to be normal anytime soon. And if that's what you want, and at the risk of your life or your grandparents or your daughter or your son or your cousin, whatever it is, more power to you. I am not doing it. You know, and that's what I'm seeing out there. And I'm like, and I'm just watching them, and I'm just like, wow, it's that important to them for them to sit there and converse with one another in person and chat up, and they take their mask down a bit and they chat with each other, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm in Florida, so
Oh
like
dear
I
goddess.
said,
Whenever you mention Florida, I start going, oh dear goddess.
yes, real estate's coming up really good here. um, we're open. The only requirement is to wear a mask. Everything is open. They try to do the distancing and every other table in the restaurant and that kind of thing. It's like, I'm a homebody anyway. I go to work, I come home, I close my door. I'll close my door on Friday night and don't go out till Monday morning. That's me all the time.
Yeah, but I've
So,
never been a homebody. I've always been. I used to go out a lot, take myself out on date night all the time, movies, drinks, dinner. I don't like to cook, so I was with dinner outside all the time. But this is not the world we're living in right now. So I am not doing that. So I'll buy the mixes and all the different things, and I will make myself those things at home. I don't like doing it, but I will do it because I want to still have something. And I have my movies I buy on Amazon, bring them home, and I'm good to go. Or Prime Video or whatever it is. I'm good. I don't need, and literally I'm conversing with you. I told my mom is the only one I can't converse with because she does not have internet or any of those different things. So I can't, I'm like, Mom, it would be so nice if you would let me do this so we can talk. But she's not going to, so.
since all this is happening, people are looking ahead in the future to see what's going to go on and how things are being effective. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh yeah, hey, in terms of
What you do?
I see a whole new world in the sense of not a whole new world, but a whole new way of the way we do things. Everything that we did strictly in person is going to be a bit of combination of both, or a bit of or online a lot more. I think because Zoom and other platforms like this are going to get even better to the point where even if we have the choices to go out in person and do certain things, it has made it so much more easier for us to to do it like this that we will get so used to it. I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of things that we do, whether we realize it or not. I think this is just a beginning platform of where things are. And COVID has just made it where it's made us aware that these are our options and we're not limited only to the in-person things. So a lot of things that it's kind of like where Witches Fest is going to go, because I think it's going to go online for years to come, adding that as an addition to the in-person. So, and honestly, if you do astrology, I don't think COVID is going anywhere until 2024. It's not gonna, there's never gonna be a cure. It never has been with any of the pandemics, ever. They've always been able to manage it, even with the AIDS pandemic. In 1980, to this day, it's being managed, it's not gone. And that was the same thing. And all the way through history, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But following what I've seen with astrology, with Pluto and Jupiter conjuncting, and each time the pandemic hit with Pluto and Jupiter conjunct, it was depending on where it landed and what sign. Like, for example, in 1980 with AIDS, it was Pluto Jupiter conjunct in Libra, the sign of relationships, sexually transmitted disease. This time it's Pluto Jupiter conjunct in Aquarius, the sign of the lungs. So everything since 149 BC has been a Pluto conjunct in whatever it is. And that's just history. And going by history, each time they never found a cure, even with the Black Plague.
Yeah.
It just, when Pluto and Jupiter separated, it disappeared. And they thought, oh, it's gone. They've got it covered. They never found a cure for any of them. There's not going to be any cure. It's just going to go away in 2024. And that's when it says it's going. It's just the way it is. And that's, I'm just going by historically what has been said all along about these different pandemics or viruses or whatever it is that has happened globally. And this is what has happened each time. So if I'm going by history and what has been said and what is now, it's not going anywhere till then, unfortunately. And around November 21st or so, it's going to get really, really bad.
At least that'll be after my birthday.
It's gonna, that I think is because of humans, unfortunately. The entitled, privileged humans that we are, that everything is our right to do as we please and be normal, whether or not it is normal. That's what's gonna, and a lot of it's gonna, it may last longer because of us being who we are.
So, okay, so we're, so my last two questions are, number one, before we were coming on, you said that you were actually considering writing a book.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I started actually to write the book, and I'm putting in different chapters of different things I'm doing, and it's all based on my things that I came up with, like my graveyard mystery kits and the other things that I do that I came up with from my mental health counseling, the underworld journeys, things like that. Like, so it's all things that I've picked up over the world that I've traveled and seen that has worked for people. And most of it, I think people have not ever seen before. And so it's taking me some time, and then I don't have a lot of time. I have so many different projects in the works. Just me mentioning the other one for the end of August, you know what I mean? And it's just like everything kind of takes my time away from certain things. So I kind of write as much as I can. So it's going to take me some time.
Well, you know what? I really look forward to when you have that book out, and then maybe you can come back on the show and we can talk about it.
Okay, sounds good.
So other than that, how can people reach you?
They can reach me charmedbystarr@hotmail.com. That's my email. Again, charmed by and then star with 2 R's at Hotmail. If they want, they can, where else? WiccanFamilyTemple.org. I'm sorry, that's the website. WiccanFamilyTemple@hotmail.com. I love Hotmail, so everything's pretty much Hotmail. I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for being our guest today. This was
Oh, you're
awesome.
welcome.
We've learned a lot. We're excited about what's coming up. We're all looking forward to Witch Fest again. That's always awesome, awesome, awesome.
Thank you.
And it's very nice now that it is on different platforms, so we can actually go back and visit what we missed. So one thing I hate about, I love going to festivals, but I always end up missing. Like, there's so many awesome classes, and it's like, but I'm only one person, and I can't make all of them.
Well, we can't. We only ran that for 4 days after the event.
Yes.
After that, we can't.
Right.
So, but the commercials, the infomercials, and some of the performances are on the channels. Yes.
Right. And that's what's awesome. You can go back and catch up, and you can go to the different classes. That always used to kill me. You got to split yourself in two to go to the two classes you want. That is one advantage of being online with a lot of this. I'm really finding I can actually get, especially if you're teaching a class,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
it never fails. They always put the class you want in the slot where you're teaching. Yeah.
Yeah.
The goddess does that for fun. I really think she does. Because it's like,
Especially, I'm the one scheduling, and then I'm going, actually, I wanted to go see that. Well, too bad. I can't. I have to schedule myself, and there it is.
and that's what's really killing me. But now that it's online, we're actually able in those few days to bounce back and catch what you missed. So that, to me, is the best part of this. We are done with Starr. Thank you for being our host. We really appreciated it. We'll make sure we get this all out to everybody so they can come visit you.
Thank you guys so much for inviting me. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
And now it's time for the Witch's Cabinet with Nikki. And she's going to let us know what are we doing today, girl?
Hello. Yes, we are doing today. Basically, last week in our Witch's Cabinet today, we decided that with Byron Ballard and Pam and I, we talked about doing magic in the field. So this week, I wanted to do some spells that I use in the field and show you how you can kind of tweak them to yours. Now, one of the spells that when we actually have to go out, like if we have to go get groceries or go to the doctor or something like that, especially if you have to go to Walmart for some reason, or you have to go to another store for some reason, sometimes it's hard to find a parking space, because we all want that really good parking space, don't we? So one of the parking space spells that I use is from Everyday Magic by Dorothy Morrison, who is a very good friend of mine. And the original spell is, and I quote, "Goddess, lift your face and find me a parking space," unquote. Well, with me, whenever I deal with deity, I always add a please or a thank you, depending on what I'm doing at the time. So with Dorothy's spell, I added the word please. So I say, "Goddess, lift your face and please find me a parking space." And that works every time, whether you say the please or not, it works every single time. And it's something that you can't just say once. You have to continuously chant and chant and chant. I actually start probably about maybe 2 or 3 minutes before I actually get there. I start saying this spell. And usually every single time it's very close and up front near the door. Another spell that I use is to keep calm is, "As within, so without, I am calm again. Align the elements once more. My sanity is restored." And this spell is really good, especially if you get upset over something and you find that you can't calm yourself down, even if you're reasoning yourself and trying to tell yourself, well, I don't really need to get upset over this, but you're still upset of it. Chanting this over and over and over again is really good, and it helps calm you down. And also what it does is it takes your mind off of what you're actually upset about. And so because you're concentrating on that chanting, you do it over and over again. But like many of you, I'm an empath. And so a lot of times when I'm going out, I wear a crystal to help me with my psychic shields. And what you can do is you can find the clearest crystal you can find. And then you take that crystal and you ask, and what you will need to do is you need to cleanse it. So in order to cleanse it, you use salt and water. You ask the goddess to bless the salt. You place the salt in the water. And as you're placing the salt in the water, you say something to the effect of, I use this salt to bless this water. And mix the salt in the water with your finger, usually moving in the form of a pentacle 3 times. And then after I do that, and everything's kind of calm and everything, I place my crystal in the water for about a minute or two. I don't leave it in there. I just place it in there for about a minute or two. And as I'm placing it in there, I say, by the power of the goddess, I bless and consecrate this crystal for the purposes of protection against all foes, so may it be. And then I pull it out and I kind of just damp dry it, because I don't want it to dry on its own. Just damp dry it. And then I wear the crystal. And so every week, repeat the cleansing of that crystal, because as you're around people, you're gathering their energy. Some of them are good and some of them are toxic. But that crystal, what it does is it begins to turn a little bit of color. And so what you want to do is you want to cleanse it so that crystal can be clear and you can be able to have that extra power for your shields and so forth. So that is going to be the witch's cabinet for today. So back to you, Pam.
Awesome. I'd like to thank everybody for being on the show. Starr was awesome. Look forward to her book coming out real soon. And we look forward to Witch Fest again next year. The great thing about it being online is you get to attend all the classes. A lot of the festivals are going online. So I caution people, before you think it's just canceled, check with the organization, because a lot of them are going online. You will be able to go online and actually see what's going on again. I know it's not the same as being in person, but there are perks. You can sit at home in your PJs and watch. You can check it out at your time, not necessarily their time. The parking spell, sometimes
It's not necessary.
You got to have that parking spell to go to any witch festival. I learned that a long time ago. But this way you can park it on your couch and you don't have to go far. And I would very much caution people, again, check out the organizations before you say it's all gone. Many of these organizations are doing this as a trial run. If it works and they get a lot of people come, then they'll continue to do their festivals. If they go online and nobody comes, they're not going to do it, and you're going to lose a festival. And it's hard enough with the pagan gatherings to get it to work. I've done them. I've had the psychic fairs. They are tough to organize. It's easier online, but if you don't have the people show up, then there's no sense of having all your people come and nothing happen. Again, if you go to them online, please make sure you leave your comments. Make sure they know you were there. There are stores that are affiliated with your online festivals. Please visit them. Now's the time when we can order online with a lot of the festivals, and that'll help the festival. Some festivals are charging for their classes. If you want to go, you've got to make the charge. Go ahead and do it. Let's keep these festivals alive. That's part of our path. Nikki?
Yeah, and even if you're asking a question, if you may think it may be online or something, I'm sure that there's always a spot on their website to be able to ask them certain questions. So, if you're ever in doubt, ask them a question, and I'm sure that they'll be able to get back in touch with you. Also, support our local pagan shops as well, because many of them are having a lot of problems also because of the COVID-19. And we want to be able to keep them growing and thriving as well. So, like I said, a lot of them, they may have websites, and some of them offer curb service, and some of them, just offer it online. So just go and do that. But that will be all for today. Next week, our guest host will be Oberon Zell, the wizard. And so Pam and I, we are really looking forward to talking to him about everything that he wizardly does, you know. uh, but thank you all for watching us. We do appreciate it. We want to thank Starr Ravenhawk for being our guest host. She was an absolute blast, and we enjoyed the conversation that we had. So until next time, we'll see you then. Have a good one.